Christina. Okay, this is Brenda, and still a little background, and then I'll let you take it. Okay. When I first met her, she had previously been diagnosed with breast cancer. So you've been under care for a couple years, but go back to where you were before we met. I know you weren't living here.
Right.
But take them right to the point where you knew something was wrong and then you went in to get it checked out.
Okay. I knew something was wrong after I had a surgery, a hysterectomy, which I wish I hadn't had now because it's unnecessary. But and then I felt a lump. It was just a very tiny, like the size of a pea. And I said, well, I couldn't go in right then because I had to recuperate from the hysterectomy. But then as soon as that was over with, I went to the doctor and I had a biopsy done. And they didn't think anything of it. They said that it's probably the same old thing because I had a history of having lumps since I was 21 years old. And I had these fibrostic cysts and lumps removed several times since I was 21. And they said, oh, it's the same old thing. It's probably nothing. I was sitting at work at my desk, and then all of a sudden I got a phone call, and it was my doctor calling, and he said, we went back in the mass that we took out, and we found cancer. And I'm sitting at work. I work answering telephones and speaking to people. I work for a large Toyota dealership in the Washington, D.C. area, and I just went into shock. Two things happen when you hear that diagnosis. We found cancer. The first thing is it's something very quick. You're in a denial state, like this really can't be what I'm hearing them tell me, that I have cancer. I have kids that I want to see get married, you want to have, everything starts flashing before your eyes. The second thing that happens is you go into this long state of shock when the reality hits. You have that short thing of this is not happening, but then when you really know this is really it, then you start getting that fear factor coming in. It's a death sentence. I'm going to be dead. I mean, I cried. I was in shock. I'm at work. I literally had the phone in my hand, and someone came in my office and they asked me, are you all right? And I was speechless, and they took the phone from me and said, let's go out, let's walk. I cried. Literally, I screamed and had that pity party, scream, holler. And if anybody's ever known somebody to get that, I don't know if everyone goes through that, but I was just sickened by that, having a death sentence put on me like that. So it was very awful, and everyone would tell me, you're going to be okay. There's new drugs out there now. The chemo is not like it used to be. They can give you a pill now. You don't have to get injections. And I had people offering to take care of me because at this point, I had planned to move here to Texas. I had already given up my place to live. I had already put in a 2-week notice for this job that I'm at. So I had no job, no place to stay. And then I had all these offers like, well, you need to do what the doctor tells you to do. We'll take care of you, or you can stay here and get your chemo treatments. And I was really urged to do that. And the first thing they tell you is you need to have surgery right away. You need to get oncology right away. You need to start taking radiation right away, and you have all this going through your mind. And my dad, who was a chiropractor, the practice of drugless medicine, got cancer, colon cancer, years back, and he fell under that pressure of the medical society telling him, you have to get chemo, you have to get radiation, you have to get a surgery. And my dad went against everything that he knew as a chiropractor, all his ethics, the practice of drugless medicine, and he knew what to do, but under that pressure that the medical society puts on you, he failed to that, and he took the chemo, and he told me, he said, the chemo's killing me, it's not the cancer. Because he knew what chiropractic would do, if he had just seen his colleagues and did the right things. But it's a horrible diagnosis. I cried for, I'm going to say, at least a week or two. What it does to your family. I have kids. My kids were crying, we're going to lose our mother. My mother actually had cancer and had both her breasts removed, and then she's thinking my daughter's going to die because they told me that I don't have the same cancer that my mother had.
Yeah, what was the, your terminology when you were first met? What was your cancer like? What did they tell you it was?
They told me I had invasive cancer. My mother had non-invasive, and the non-invasive is contained in a certain area. Mine was on top of the cell. So that way they said it would spread all over my body in just a little short time. And they said if I didn't take traditional treatment, have a surgery done, to get the radiation and to get the chemotherapy, that I would not make it in about 2 months.
Wow. Okay, so now you were in transition. What did you decide to do as you were moving and all this?
The moving?
Well, you were moving, so you
Yes,
had to make this decision.
Right, so I
Chemo
had,
or not. What did you do?
I had all that going on, so I decided that I would go ahead and move to Texas. Despite all the doctors in Maryland, where I was there in the Washington, D.C. area, telling me that I needed the surgery and the radiation and chemo. And in transit to Texas, I stopped in Ohio because that's where my family is from, and I wanted to see my family, you know, get some support from them. And they all said, why don't you go see Mom's doctor, who is the head chief surgeon of University Hospitals in Cleveland, Ohio. She's the head of the whole breast surgery department. She's a very hard lady to get into to see. I called and they took me right in. I don't know if because she was good friends with my mom or what, but you know, they took me in. And because everyone wanted me to get a second opinion, I did that, and she told me the same things that the doctors in Maryland told me. She said, we need to get you into surgery to get part of your breast removed, and they said, and then we want to get you started on chemo and radiation treatments, and they said, and then you can still go move to Texas, but we'll get you into the MD Anderson Center, and you can finish your chemo treatments up there. So I had all this going on, but I decided no. I was not going to do that. Mainly because when my dad, on his deathbed, I was with him, and I held his hand, and he said, Brenda, the cancer is not killing me. I've taught you kids that, how to take care of your body, how to get chiropractic care, and what to do, how to eat, and he didn't do the right things, and then he was scared, really forced and scared with that fear tactic into taking all the traditional treatments. And he said, promise me that you will not take chemotherapy and do not sign on the dotted line for someone to give you poison in your arm or for somebody to burn your body with radiation. Promise me that you won't do that. So I always had that in the back of my head, you know, when everyone's trying to force me, you need to do what the doctor says, you need to get the surgery, you need to take the chemo, you need to get the radiation, but I didn't do it.
What did you do?
I moved here to Texas. I came here anyway.
That's all you gotta do. Everybody come move to Texas.
I know, plenty of sunshine, vitamin D. I moved here to Texas anyway, and I really believe it was like a divine appointment from God that He moved me here and put the right people in my path. I was listening to radio one day, and I heard on 100.7, Dr. Hooten was on there, and he was talking about having a seminar. And he said, whoever's a 10th caller, get a free, you know, checkup and whatever. And so I said, oh, I never win anything, but I'm going to go ahead and try to call anyway. And I won. So I was like, wow, free checkup. But one thing that was really important was I was listening to what he was saying on the broadcast. And it made perfect sense. And I said, wow, this guy sounds like my dad. You know, talking about all the good things and, you know, what you need for your body and getting treated for subluxation. And I said, I can't wait to go see him. And I got chiropractic care, and I also changed my diet. Several things that Dr. Hooten's been sharing with you tonight, what fuels cancer. The medical industry is not going to tell you that. You know, I have so many people in my family that I've lost with cancer, and they've gone through the traditional treatments, and right there, while they're taking oncology, they're feeding them candy. You know, if they're nauseous, you know, give them a sugary peppermint or something on the way out, which is just speeding up the cancer cell growth, which is ridiculous. So,
And how long ago was that?
This was in 2007.
So you got diagnosed in '07 and moved here.
Yes.
And where are we, 2012?
Yes.
Wow.
I think you lived a little more than 2 months.
I lived a little bit longer than 2 months.
Yeah.
And did you, if I remember, you actually had a couple follow-up scans?
Yes, I did. A couple of times I went to the doctor just to get a checkup. I did find an MD here who is very good, and though he's a medical doctor, he leans towards a holistic approach. He doesn't like to give people radiation or chemo. If you want it, he'll give it to you because they have to, being an MD. But, excuse me, he's more on the natural things, and he was really impressed with what I was doing. But I was going through my little routines, and he wants to take a mammogram. I really didn't want to take a mammogram because that's just me. I'm opposed to a lot of radiation, too much radiation. I've even had some people tell me that because I had cysts so long ago, since I was 21, that I was getting too much radiation. And that could have helped cause the cancer too. But anyway, I went to him, and he wanted to take a mammogram, so I went ahead and did that, and went back to get the follow-up, and he says, it looks like we see some calcification, and it's on the other side. And they said, looks like, he said, I don't want to tell you for sure that it's cancer that's come back, but he says it kind of looks like that. So then he wanted to do CAT scans. He wanted to do 3 CAT scans, upper, mid-torso, and then lower, just to make sure things weren't spreading in my body, because he says I need some type of a road map if I'm going to do something. He says, Brenda, I know you're opposed to all of that, but I can't help you unless I have this road map. So I went ahead and got the CAT scan, even though I didn't want to do the CAT scan either. And I didn't panic because I trust in a good God, and I trust in chiropractic care, and I trust in my ability to find out what I need to do for my body health-wise. So I still felt I am healed. I'm healed. My body is healed. I don't have cancer. I don't care what they're saying they think they saw on the x-rays. And he took the CAT scan when I went to get him checked, and he said there's nothing there. He said, so whatever you're doing, keep doing it because you are healthy. You have no cancer.
All right.
I would just like to say one more thing about Dr. Brian Hootman. He is so good, and I want all of you to know that you do need the chiropractic care. Everything he's telling you about getting your vertebrae adjusted so that blood can flow and heal it up. And if you can remember one thing tonight, just remember that the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest the patient in the human frame, in the diet, and in the prevention and cause of disease. And that is the doctor of the future.
All right.